If everyone could get out their calculators, type 58008, turn it upside down, and it spells boobs. And then proceed to take out their textbooks, turn to chapter 9. Today we'll be covering getting better at Paladins. Now this is like a broad subject to cover, so what we'll do is we'll break it down into 3 easy sections: loadouts, items, and champion gameplay. Let's start off with loadouts. So I've come to the understanding that a lot of people aren't aware of this import feature in Paladins. This allows you to take a specific champion, click on loadouts like you'd create one, and then at the bottom left there's a little button that says import. This is a great way to look up some general ideas on what some good loadouts are. But how do you know who to look up? Well, there's 2 big ways to find quote-unquote good people and their loadouts. One is to watch Paladin streamers on Twitch. Like me? Like me, maybe, I don't know. You can literally watch for yourself how good this player is. If he tickles your fancy, simply click import, type in their name, like 009, and then boom, you have their loadouts. The other way is to go to the champion leaderboards, kind of look at the top players, look through a few of their loadouts, find the one that you like. Now keep in mind that you don't have to use their exact loadouts though. I prefer to use it as kind of a starting point, find things you like about it and tweak it to your playstyle. So next we have items. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, what's the best items to buy with Champion X? And while certain items may prove to be a little bit better on certain champions, like the Veteran card for beefy HP champs, and others may prove to be not so good or completely useless, like Grover with Deft Hands, a lot of the item decisions comes down to countering the other team. Haven and Blast Shields, for example, are normally a must-buy, but make sure you're familiar with which champion does what damage. I'd suggest going through all the champion skill lists if you're not sure. I guess now that we're on the subject of Haven and Blast Shield, let's talk about that a little bit more in depth. So normally you'd want to buy the appropriate card that mitigates the majority of the team's damage, but sometimes the minority of the damage is the one giving you the most problems. So for example, as a Drogos, you're in the air a lot. Well, you got a jetpack, I assume you are. The enemy team is composed of mainly blasters like Pip, Drogos, and Bomb King, which Blast Shield would mitigate that damage, and then they have 2 direct damage dealers like Cassie and Vic. While there's more blasters, the people that will actually be hitting you the most in the air is the Cassie and Vic, so Haven might be the better pickup. Or let's say you're Kinessa and your opponent's in mainly Haven, but that damn Eevee is just making your life a nightmare. You might consider picking up Blast Shields just to survive the only real damage that's able to get to you. The big thing to take away from all this is to just adapt each game on what items you buy. For the most part, the main items I buy are Blast Shield and Haven, Chronos and Morale Boost, Kill to Heal and Veteran, Wrecker and Cauterize. Oh, and lastly about items, I hear the question a lot, is it better to buy all 4 items or upgrade 1 or 2 first? I think this is all personal preference, and again, depending on what your opponent's composition is. I personally prefer to start off with buying 2 items and then upgrading 1 of them. But certain items, to me, feel like they excel a lot more at level 2 or level 3. Cauterize, for example, at level 1 only does 30%, but I try to rush it to level 2 for that 60% reduced healing. Then again, if I get Cauterize first round and notice a lot of my other team is getting Cauterize, or the healing on the other team isn't really that big of a deal as I first anticipated, I'll go for another item. Again, it's all about adapting to what your team is getting and the other team's composition is. I'll consider going a little bit more in depth into item purchasing once Paladins kind of chills on the major changes. Last up on the list, which in my opinion is probably the most important, is champion gameplay. So, a thing that I've learned from past games like Quake or CS or any type of game is that if you want to get good, just watch better players and then do what they do. Like I mentioned before, watching great players on Twitch is a great way to learn. It allows you to ask questions like, hey, why'd you do that? And whatnot. Another way is to watch past replays of top competitive gameplay. But how does one do that? You do this by typing /replay, insert match ID. So you would type like /replay space 3827129, for example. I don't know, just throwing out numbers. But how does one get the match ID? Ooh. Well, the first thing to know is you can only watch a past replay if the game was spectated by at least 1 person while the game was live. An easy way to look up past match IDs that are actually spectatable is from past tournaments. I like to go to the Paladins game channel on Twitch and search through past broadcasts, find one titled something like Summer Circuit or anything about tournament, and then skim through the whole VOD to find post screens. At the very top is where you'll find the match ID. Once you get into the replay, you can go free cam to watch how the teams move on to a point, or you can focus on a certain player playing a champion that you want to get better at. The actual spectator controls isn't too beginner friendly, so I'll go over them real quick. The numpad numbers 0 through 9 will be able to cycle through the 10 players. If you hit W, A, S, or D, you'll hit into free cam and you can use those buttons to move freely. E and Q changes your vertical height for the free cam. And while you're in the free cam, if you hold shift, you kind of get like a sprint. Page up will fast forward and page down will slow it back down. And the comma or less than symbol button on your keyboard will reverse it like, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds or something. Now you're spectating like a pro. Alright, that should wrap everything about up. I understand that my Kami Academy videos have been pretty general, vague, and beginner-like, but I did this on purpose, so down the road of this series, if I want to go into like more detailed stuff, I can assume you know everything from these past videos, or you can at least refer to them if you'd like. As always, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and please let me know what you'd like to see covered in a future episode. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm not gonna be one of those people who asks you to like and subscribe, so I'm not gonna ask.